Hey guys, so it's me Alexis. I am back with another video, and this week I am going to be talking about Taurus. So, a little story. I made a little poll for which sign I was going to cover for this week, and Gemini and Taurus were tied, and then I had to do another poll for those two, and Taurus won. So yeah, end of story. We're doing Taurus today. Before I go ahead and talk about Taurus, again, like always, I will be putting up a poll. There's only two signs left. It's Gemini and Virgo, which are weirdly signs ruled by Mercury. So I just thought that was really weird. Like, it's always interesting to see where we kind of get to at the end of a series. But yeah, I want to go ahead and talk about Taurus, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on it. Let's get started. So Taurus is a fixed earth sign ruled by Venus. So when you have a sign that is fixed, these signs are really good at committing. These guys are good at stabilizing, being consistent, clinging on to things, stuff like that. They're not really good at letting things go. They're not really good at starting things. They're definitely not good at adapting, because those are things that cardinal immutable signs are good at. But these guys, like, once they got a grip, they got a grip. So that's Taurus for you. That's especially true for Taurus. I mean, Taurus is notoriously known to be stubborn, but at the same time, while they are stubborn, they're also very steadfast. You'll never see a Taurus like change their mind 5 times in a row. That's Gemini. And I think that is somewhat respectful, just because you can always trust a Taurus's words no matter what, because it's usually set in stone, and a Taurus will try to make it set in stone. So that's where you kind of see the fixed nature of Taurus. And then Taurus is also an earth sign. So earth signs are often very practical, very realistic, kind of hard to warm up to, just because they seem a little bit intimidating. You can kind of feel the distance from them, like internally, like you can kind of tell that like they're kind of standoffish. That's because earth is cold and dry, meaning that with the coldness, it's more internal. A lot of the earth energy kind of manifests inside you, and then when something is dry, dryness tries to kind of like separate things. It's not really connective like a water or an earth sign. It's very separate. Earth and fire are dry. You can kind of see why like earth signs and fire signs are similar, in the sense that like they're kind of separative. Like, you know an earth sign when you see one. It's kind of like that. So yeah, that is how Taurus is an earth sign. And then Taurus is also ruled by Venus. Now, Venus is the planet of connections. Well, that's what I like to think, because when I kind of think about every planet, I think about, okay, what is like the core function of this planet, and how does this manifest in like humanity? And for Venus, that is connections. That's why you see relationships being covered by Venus. You see beauty, aesthetics, all of that stuff. And to me, like, all those little subjects that are covered by Venus, they are all connected by the fact that like they connect people together. So for example, relationships, no brainer, they connect people together. With beauty, like when you look at somebody and you think that they're beautiful, there's something about them that is so captivating that like it grips you. Beauty kind of forces you to have a connection with someone. Attraction, that's a type of connection, stuff like that. So with that all in mind, Taurus to me kind of embodies like the inner, kind of the private workings of Venus, where it's more like making connections within yourself, seeing the beauty that you have within yourself, securing yourself, making sure that you are stable with all the nice, stable foundations within yourself. So whenever I think of Taurus, I think of inner connections. And that's why Taurus is always tied to things like pampering, self-care, like all of these little like, you know, cute Venus stuff, just because like on a deeper level, hopefully, what these activities are doing is helping you maintain a strong, healthy, beautiful connection within yourself. That's what I think is ideal Taurus energy. Now, with all that strained away, what is the moon in Taurus? So I technically know a few people who have a moon in Taurus, and I like them. And yeah, I like them. Like, I don't hate them, I just like them. Because like, to me personally, when you have a moon in Taurus, like, you are like the emotional rock, whether that's your choice or not. And usually, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on the person, but to me, when it comes to a moon in Taurus, like, they are just so emotionally consistent. I think that's really a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. The reason why it's a good thing is kind of obvious, is because, like, you know, if something happens to you, chances are you might know how you feel. You can kind of predict how you're gonna feel. It's just kind of like, oh, this is gonna happen? Oh, wait, I know how my moon and Taurus friend is going to react because I've seen them react the same way all the time. And which is a good thing just because that means you're not unpredictable. That means people are not gonna be walking on eggshells when it comes to you. And because you are easy to kind of predict when it comes to your emotions, you are a lot easier to work with when it comes to emotional situations. However, the main problem that I see with Moon and Taurus is that they do want emotional stability and consistency, which is great because, you know, keeps things calm, keeps things nice and chill, good stuff, right? At the same time though, there are times where we need the volatility, we need the change, we need the inconsistency, we need the unpredictability, we need the surprise. And that stuff, Moon and Taurus, like they're just kind of like, nope, I'm allergic to that. I don't want to touch that. I don't want to do anything with that. But there are points in your life where you're gonna have to. So because of that, when it comes to the Moon and Taurus, I wouldn't be surprised if these people don't like to try new things if they feel like their emotions are gonna be they're gonna be jeopardized. So with that being said, like because of that, sometimes a Moon and Taurus could also kind of deny that like their feelings are spiraling out of control, let's say. Like let's just say that like, you know, something volatile happens and it's perfectly reasonable for your emotions to be up and down. For a Moon and Taurus, like they don't want that. And sometimes I think the worst way to have a Taurus moon is to kind of pretend that your feelings are not, you know, inconsistent, irrational, impractical, etc., when it really is. Because in a way, that is kind of how you kind of invalidate your feelings, and a lot of bad things happen when you do not validate your own feelings. So that's one way to think about it. Now, when it comes to like getting comfortable within themselves, I think Taurus moons are great at that, just because the moon is exalted in Taurus. The reason why the moon is exalted in Taurus is because when it comes to gaining emotional comfort and emotional familiarity and just getting, you know, your emotions set and nice and comfy, like Cancer is good at it, but like Taurus takes it to the next level. So let's take Cancer moons for example. Cancer moons, they know what they want, they know how they're familiar with like whatever they have. They try to act on their emotions from familiarity, and they base it off of emotions. However, sometimes emotions can be unreliable, sometimes emotions can be unpredictable, so sometimes that familiarity is not guaranteed. However, when you are a Taurus, that familiarity is guaranteed, which is kind of like an A+ when it comes to the moon, because the moon does want that familiarity, and Taurus takes it to the next level by finding familiarity and comfort, not just in emotions, but like physical, tangible things, like pleasures, stuff like that, Venus things. So, I mean, that's why, you know, a lot of people joke about Taurus being like the self-care sign, and in a way they are, but you know, as long as that self-care is genuine and is truly creating true foundational connections within yourself, I would agree. However, I do feel like a lot of people use self-care to escape from how they're really feeling, which is not true Taurus energy, okay? So anyways, back from my tangent, Taurus moons, they are good at finding familiarity because they try to tie their comfort to like physical things. Like, and in physical things, like unlike emotions, they don't just disappear, they don't just transform, they don't just change out of thin air, like they stay the way they are. And because of that, that is why Taurus moon people are really good at familiarizing themselves with their emotions. They're really good at keeping their emotions really set, and because of that, they're technically emotional rocks. You can rely on a Taurus moon. And speaking of reliance, if you ever want to comfort a Taurus moon, you gotta know how they comfort themselves. Because, I mean, let's just say, like, for example, like, my roommate, she is a Taurus moon. She loves chocolates. Like, she really fucking loves chocolate. If she were sad, I mean, I know that, like, just, like, throwing a chocolate in her face is not going to work. But I know that, like, since there is that sense of familiarity and pleasure when it comes to having chocolate, it will kind of elevate, like, it will kind of alleviate her emotions a bit. So when it comes to, like, comforting a Taurus moon, you gotta know what they like. You gotta know how they emotionally cope, because chances are it might be their only way of coping, because it's probably, you know, what they know. It's probably what works for them. And as a Taurus moon, they don't like to venture off into unpredictable things, because low-key, these people are scared of change because they don't really know what to do if their emotions go haywire. So they're always gonna try to go for the same thing that comforts them all the time, whether it be like watching a Disney movie or having chocolates or whatever. You gotta figure it out. Now, I'm already at 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of talk about the parents portions. So when you have a Taurus moon, I would perceive that like your nurturing parent, they might have made you or tried to make you their emotional rock. Either way, when it came to their emotions, they taught you, hey, don't overreact. Your emotions can get really, you know, out there. Like, don't do that. Like, be consistent, be calm, don't lose your ground. And because of that, you took that, you're like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And that's where your emotional like consistency comes from. However, I think one thing that Taurus in general needs to accept is just that inconsistency and mystery and unpredictability, these are like the main ingredients of life. And it's completely human to want consistency and stability, but you know, there's other elements in life that you have to be ready for. And one of those things is like inconsistency. And you can't just pretend that life is stable and consistent when it's really not. You have to see life for what it is. So it's funny because, you know, Taurus is like, they're earth signs, right? But like they'll refuse to see the world as it is sometimes because their stubbornness really gets them in the way from really seeing how the world is because they're scared, which is, you know, reasonable. It's human and it's totally fine, it's reasonable, but they gotta know. Because the worst thing that a Taurus moon can do is invalidate their emotions because it's not stable or consistent enough. Because it's really disheartening to see a Taurus moon look at their emotions and it's a roller coaster for once, and they're just kind of like, nope, I'm fine. Everything is fine. My emotions are always going to be like this. And that's ideally how they want their emotions to be, but they have to realize the truth and that, you know, it's okay to have your emotions like this sometimes, because life can often be like this. It's not always going to be consistent and stable and easy. And that is something I think a Taurus moon really needs to know, just because if they don't really implement that into their own life, not only are they going to invalidate their own emotions whenever it's inconsistent and going up and down, but they can invalidate someone else's emotions, and I don't think that's fair at all. So yeah, I think that is pretty much my gist on a Taurus moon. Before I go though, I have like a funny story to share about a Taurus moon. There was a guy that I used to like, and one time he told me that he threw a temper tantrum at his mom because she didn't buy him Chipotle, and apparently it like ruined his mood for the whole night, like consistently for the whole night. I just thought it was really funny. Just wanted to share that with you guys. And my Taurus roommate, or my Taurus like moon roommate, she also likes chocolate. I don't know, maybe there is a connection to food. I mean, it's a stereotype. I don't like to make stereotypes, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence. But anyways, before I keep on rambling, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoy my take on the moon in Taurus. It's such a cool placement. I wish my feelings were kind of nice and stable like a moon in Taurus, but you know, you give some, you lose some. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. I will be putting up that poll. So yeah, thank you guys.